Girls, what was the most obvious hint you dropped and the guy just didn't get it? My ex did something similar. I bought new lingerie, waited on the bed for him to come home from work. He comes in, looks a little shocked, says that's nice, and adjusts the straps. Laid down and started staring at his phone. He said later, after our breakup, that he just didn't know what to do and freaked out inwardly cause it was something he'd always wanted. LMAO. I never wore lingerie for him again after that incident. It killed my confidence. Edit. Lol, I did not expect this many upvotes. He uses Reddit, so I hope he doesn't browse this thread. LMAO. Edit #2. I'd like to make it clear that I'm not salty about it and don't hold it against him. It's a funny little anecdote and stemmed from us both being embarrassed by the situation. He's a pretty good dude. I didn't push or throw a tantrum. I was inwardly a little upset, but didn't outwardly react badly because that's not fair on the other person. I just got changed and snuggled instead. My buddy in college was stressing over when to make the move to kiss a girl he liked. While we encouraged him to not wait for the perfect moment and just go for it, he admitted he should have tried to kiss her when they were in the shower. Holy shit, I'm mentally slow. I just realized I was him a week or two ago. I went on a second date with a girl to a hockey game, and I don't feel comfortable doing touchy-feely stuff until I outright say I'm ready to commit seriously. So halfway through she says, "Man, it's pretty cold in here, isn't it?" And I said no, if anything I'm a little warm. Things went normally for the rest of the game, but afterwards I got straight ghosted. LMAO. I couldn't for the life of me figure out why, but that may or may not be it. It could be anything really, but I hadn't connected those dots yet, so I physically facepalmed when the light bulb went off. Edit. Thanks for the nice comments so far. It wasn't anything I was fully committed to yet, so I didn't get too bent out of shape. The bigger thing for me is that I can be socially inept at times and have not been on many dates with people I don't already know to start with, even though I'm in my mid-20s. Long chain of events lol. So I had moreover been trying to discern where anything cold been remotely connected to being ghosted, so I could potentially improve my self-awareness in a type of situation I'm not often in. I had let it go, but this reminded me of it, and I thought I'd share. Edit 2. Just so it's not some random assumptions here. Conversation was decent to great over text, and I initiated every date, to which she sounded pretty bubbly towards each time. I'm not a forward person and have strong social anxiety in situations like this. Maybe I should just be upfront with that, because they're going to know about it eventually, so I shouldn't hide it and have them guessing my motives. It just really didn't seem like there was any problems, because even after the game she was going to Uber home originally, but decided she wanted to ride with me on the subway after I mentioned I was taking it home. We talked the whole ride back and then said goodbye at the station. Then she responded once after that and never said anything else. Had her husbands, bless their hearts. When I went on the first date with my husband, we both lived in the same apartment complex. He had been there a while, so he knew most everybody that lived there, and I had just moved in. He was trying to guess which car was mine. And when he figured it out he told me, "You can tell a lot about somebody by their car." Expecting some cheesy line from him I said, "Oh yeah. What can you tell?" And he immediately started into a technical spiel about tread wear and tire alignment. I guess he was just trying to impress me with his knowledge, because he worked at an auto body shop. It didn't even occur to him that it sounded like he was trying to flirt. I definitely still tease him about that. Straight up told him I like him. I think his response was something like, "But I'm kinda trash," or something self-deprecating. He's friends with my best friend, and she confirmed that his depression is so bad that it takes a lot before he actually accepts any sort of positive attention. I think to some degree it's mutual. Hard to tell, as I too am oblivious when guys drop hints. Edit. So, this blew up more than I was expecting. Never had a comment get nearly this much attention. We're all on the same proverbial boat, it seems. Here's a summary of some common answers. Also AAA, thank you for the silver. My first award. What happened after? We still talk nearly daily. No forward motion on the I like you front, but I'm gonna be there for him, whether we're friends or something else. There's definitely some forky tendencies I suppose. Some solid points out there about the lack of compliments towards men. Everyone needs to be complimented here and there, whether it's about looks, or talent, or even just a nice shirt. Accepting them is hard as hell though. This was some years ago. I was 22, had been talking to this guy for a while, and was ready to lose my virginity. I was a college student living at home, but my mom and stepdad were on vacation celebrating their anniversary, and I figured this would be the perfect time to make my move. He and I already had a date scheduled, so before we went, I cleaned my room and the entire house from top to bottom, created a chill playlist on my computer to listen to, shaved/waxed every necessary inch of my body from the forehead down, put on sexy underwear, and waited for him to pick me up. We went out to the movies, and when he dropped me off at home, I invited him in, with the added context, and in a leading, flirty tone of voice, that we would be all alone, and had all the time in the world, to do whatever he wanted. He said, "That's alright, I'm sure you want to enjoy this time you get without your parents to be alone." He was sure, and he was wrong. I just stared at him for like 10 solid seconds in silence before I nodded, said yeah that's true, and got out of the car. The walk from my driveway to the front door was the real walk of shame, and I hadn't even gotten any good sex out of it. After that, I sat in my very clean house in my sexy underwear, eating pizza and wondering how that could have gone differently. It was my first time trying to seduce a guy into sex, and it failed miserably. I laughed about it though, and I still laugh about it now. I just figured it wasn't in the cards for me yet. Ended up losing my virginity a few more years later to the guy I'm currently engaged to, so it worked out wonderfully. He's pretty good at picking up what I'm throwing down. Lol. I'm a guy, but I can share my density as a guy that missed the hints. I went to a store where there was a girl I liked in college. We used to small talk while I browsed and never bought anything. Bring a poor college student. This time I came in the store and she said hi and we chatted a bit while I shopped. She complained, "I'm going to be home alone tonight. My family is out of town." I replied, "Oh that's too bad." She says, "I'm off at 5 today." It was 4 at the time. "What are you up tonight?" "I'm up for anything." "Oh nothing. Just sitting at home and watching a movie." My brain must have completely self-destructed because the conversation ended there. I never saw her again after that. She either quit or was avoiding me. I must have been in a daze from school to miss that cue. My girlfriend wants me to write it from her perspective, something that freezes my bloodstream every time I remember how I almost never got the girl I had a crush on for almost a year. I knew Grumper Pantaloon was into me, but I wanted him to do the first move. One night he got the courage to invite me for a drink when we met at a bar. Next day, knowing he works in it, I pretended I need some help with my computer. Before he came I sent him a text asking what kind of wine he prefers. He arrived and he obviously thought he is there to fix my laptop. I made up some stupid problem with setting the volume in a movie player, which he showed me immediately how to do properly. I sat next to him on the couch, gave him all sorts of looks and hints and waited for something. No move, not even some shy accidental touch of hands. So I got up and said I need to go to the bathroom to freshen up. When I got back, horny AF, he was already waiting at the door, saying it's getting late. It was 7 PM. I lived in a building that required a key card also for leaving the main entrance, so I had to go down with him. Dreadful awkward elevator ride. After he stepped out he turned around, and either maybe he finally got it, maybe he understood why I'm so pissed. He just waved goodbye and left. He sent me like 60 roses the next day. Took him a full 24 hours to realize he was not invited to fix my computer. But the next evening, I still had to kiss him first, because he was, and still is, a clueless moron. So answering in lieu of my late wife here husband, am dumb. Like, really dumb. She and I met and became friends very quickly, but I didn't know she apparently had a huge crush on me. I thought she was out of my league, and apparently she thought I was out of her league too, but she couldn't stop the feels. She rubbed her feet on me while we were talking, asked me in detail about my package, gave me her phone number with the line "hit me up if you want pizza and sex." We went out for lunch. She offered to fellat me for a Dr. Pepper, and she was very insistent that we got meat lovers pizza when I asked her what she wanted for watching a movie later. After we watched the movie, she was in my bed. I figured she was just wanting to keep warm and cuddle, but she strutted into my bathroom stark naked, and I had some DD staring at me. She kissed me and told me, "I want you to fuck me, you idiot." A regular romance story there. In my defense, she had a really warped sense of humor, and I thought she was kidding with all that stuff. It felt so natural with us being friends that the thought didn't even cross my mind until she propositioned me that there was potential for more. I'd had some really fucked up exes, and I thought romance was something where I had to jump through hoops for the other person and wait on them hand on foot, but she was different. That's why she was the one who I got on one knee for. Advice to the ladies out there: if my wife telling me "I want you to fuck me" got through my legendarily thick skull, I think as a last resort that'll get through to anybody. Okay, so I might end up on this thread, and I feel the need to say that I actually pretended not to notice the obvious hints at one point. I had a friend who had a super obvious crush on me, one so obvious that I noticed it, which, considering that I can pretty oblivious, is saying something, and kept hitting on me all the time. She was not subtle about it. At one point we watched a movie together, and she practically cuddled with me the whole time. Again, not subtle. The problem was that she was in a relationship at the time, and one, I was not going to go out with her during while she was still in a relationship, and two, wasn't going to ask her to break up with the guy just so I could be his replacement. I considered the guy a massive jerk and thought she should indeed break up with him, but she seemed scared to be single, so I wanted her to do it for her and not so she could just jump into another relationship. There was also the matter that I wasn't sure how well things would actually work if we did get together. She was sweet and really cute, but she also had some unaddressed issues with her mental health and sometimes talked to me in ways that I didn't feel were terribly respectful. Eventually, I just stopped talking to her altogether because she was, by that point, engaged and still hitting on me. She'd also said a few things that had crossed a line by that point. Obligatory not a girl, but while on Shuli's week-long celebration, after finishing final high school exams, I ran into a girl that both me and two other of my friends that I was away had gone to primary school with. We were chatting a bit before as a group heading down to the beach. Now the first hint I missed was when one of her friends came over and said she wants you, with what I now know to be a suggestive voice. Now, me being a 18Y idiot, I thought she wanted me to come over and chat. Strike one. The other colossal hint I missed was after being with them all day and us chatting a lot, she decided to stay the night with me. While lying next to each other on the bed in the only private room, in one of my t-shirts and her underwear, as she didn't want to sleep in her dress. She says my underwear is really uncomfortable, to which I reply in my overwhelming genius: "Is it normally?" She says no, and I don't know what else to say, so just reply with "Guess it's a manufacturing fault," before talking a bit longer and both going to sleep. It wasn't till the next day that I realized my mistake, as while walking to get breakfast with my best friend, that I recounted what had happened that night, and he proceeded to scream, "You fucking moron, she wanted you to take them off." He bring it up every time I'm introduced to anyone new, and is his favorite story. I'm the guy in this story, but yay, so we were at a party together. Then everyone decided to go to a different party, and she told me she was gonna get an Uber for the both of us. And I was like, cool, don't have to take my phone out. Once we get there first, we realize the place is not popping. So I ask her whether we should head back, and she's like, I'm okay to back wherever. And my reasonable brain thinks, yay, we should probably go back to the party we were at. And this time I'm like, I should get the Uber to be nice. And I order it back to the party. She seems sorta out of it once we get back to the party. And then like throughout the night random things would happen, like she got a cut, and I was like, you probably need a band-aid, and she was like, yeah, do you have any? And I was like, oh yay, but it's back at my place. And she'd give me like, are you getting me one face, if you can guess. No, I didn't. And then by 1 AM, she says she's gonna head back home, and she orders an Uber. And as she's leaving, one of my friends comes up and tells me, you fucking dumbass, she wanted you to take her back to your place. I fucking hightail it out of the room to catch her before she gets into the Uber. Don't even think the Flash could run that fast. But it's all good boys, I catch up to her and I'm like, haha, I got a better idea. And she rolls her eyes and cancels the Uber. LMAO. Later that night she asked me how much of an idiot I was and why I didn't pick up on anything. I was at a party at a bar and I was hitting on this guy. I was really interested at the time, so I was giving it the full court press. Like, I could not have been more clear. And he just was not getting it. We ended up chatting about our families, and he told me this story about how his parents met while serving in the military, and something his mother almost ended up getting court-martialed because his father didn't realize she was completely in love with him, because his father was completely clueless. I slugged down the last of my drink, slammed the glass on the bar, looked him dead in the eye, and said, "Really? Is that a genetic trait?" And, whoosh, he kept right on talking. I gave up after that. I'm the guy missing hints here. This girl that was really into kept inviting me to things with her and to her house. On several occasions she would hold my hand and put her head on my shoulder when she was startled by something or bored, would wrap her arms around me while watching a movie and occasionally sending me pictures of herself in a new dress to ask how she looked. This went on for about 2 years. It didn't really register to me that it was mutual until we were at a wedding reception together and the song "Thousand Years" came on with mostly couples on the dance floor. Not even joking, like 5 other guys came and asked her to dance. She just kinda ignored them, and I just see her pointing at me and motioning me to come over. I was about to ask her myself, but almost chickened out when I saw this. Her asking to dance was less a question and more a command. I was so happy to dance with her, but a few seconds in I realized it was less of a dance and more a tight hug with gentle swaying. That is when I realized she wasn't just being friendly. We got several looks from her family and friends that were just like, "It's about time." This is probably my favorite memory about anything. We are still together, and you better believe I plan on marrying her eventually if she sees fit to pursue my oblivious self for 2 years. TLDR, accidentally friend-zoned myself for 2 years despite obvious hints it was mutual.